The Fraser Valley real estate market is back on fire. Or is this just due to the spring market? Well, in order to find out, you're gonna have to stick around to hear about the April stats and what's going on in the market right now. What's going on, guys? Alex Dunbar here, your favorite Surrey Langley realtor, back again with another video. And today I have for you a Fraser Valley real estate market update for April 2023. And things are getting hot out there. And no, I don't just mean the real estate market, but also the weather. Clearly apparent due to my sunburn. If you're currently looking to buy a home, you probably noticed that there's tons of groups out at open houses as well as multiple offer situations almost everywhere you go. But if you're sitting on the sidelines and just reading the news, you probably think it's all doom and gloom out there. And in reality, there's a lot of things that would make you think prices were going to continue to come down. However, they're actually on the rise. But just before I get into it, let's hear your prediction. Do you think the market's back? Are we going on another tear upwards in prices? If so, hit that thumbs up button. But if you think the complete opposite, are we still going to have a market crash? Let me know why down in the comments. But just before I give you my take on it, let's actually dive into the data. So first of all, let's take a look at the total number of sales in the month of April. For the total Fraser Valley, we have 1,408, shows slightly higher if we go to the statistics package, but anyways, it's right around 1,500, which on average is actually still relatively low for this time of year. However, what we need to take a look at as well is the number of new listings. Now, typically new listings are going to peak out around March to April to May timeframe, and we can see here that yes, they are obviously significantly higher than December. However, compared to the previous 10 years, they are still extremely low at only just over 2,200 for the month of April. Now, if we look at current active listings, if you've watched my videos before, you know that we need to be around the 6,000 active listings mark in order to be in any sort of a balanced or buyer's market. We are sitting under 4,000 for the month of April. We're actually just under 4,200 currently, so we're still very low, slightly up from the previous month, even though it doesn't show in the stats here. However, the very telling stat is going to be the sales to active listings ratio, because if we have under 20% and over, depending on where you look, 12 to 14%, this is going to be a balanced market. Under that 12 to 14% range is going to be a buyer's market. And currently it's showing for April that we were at nearly a 39% sales to actives ratio, which is a strong seller's market. So what does all this mean for prices? Where are they headed? And what did we see last month? So first of all, let's just take a quick peek at the benchmark prices for the Fraser Valley with detached, townhomes, and apartments. And we can see that all three property types were up in price. Now, moving over to specifically the different parts of Surrey as we have it broken down for, we can see that detached home market was and is the greatest in the South Surrey White Rock area at $1.64 million. Cloverdale at $1.481 million. Central Surrey, which is around Fleetwood and Bear Creek area, at just slightly lower than Cloverdale, and North Surrey coming in at the bottom at $1.436 million. Now, if we head over to what those actual changes were, if we take a quick look at the White Rock South Surrey area, we can see that benchmark and median price points were up for detached. However, the average price is actually slightly down. For townhomes, all three metrics were up. And then for apartments, we can see that the benchmark and average prices were both up. However, the median price point was slightly down, although overall price points are definitely higher than they were last month. Heading down to Surrey Central, we can see bigger jumps definitely in all three property types, up almost 9% in the average price and almost 7% in the median price. Moving on to townhomes, up across the board as well, between 2 and 3% in all metrics. And then apartments also up pretty significantly, looking at the median and average price points, which are generally more accurate on a month-to-month basis, whereas benchmark prices is always going to give you a better idea of the overall trend, but typically trails behind and doesn't fluctuate by as much month to month. Heading over to Cloverdale, we've seen Cloverdale be a pretty hot market as of late, especially in the detached portion of it. As you can see here, almost 8% in both the median and average price in a single month. That is massive. Heading over to townhomes, again, pretty large jumps. I've seen a ton of activity here looking for clients tons of multiple offer situations in the townhome and detached markets, specifically in Cloverdale and most of Langley, being Willoughby and the Clayton area as well. And then looking at apartments, slightly down actually in the median and average prices. However, it'd be interesting to see as we look here, there were only 19 sales, so that probably did play a role. And lastly, moving on to North Surrey, we can see that benchmark prices were up. However, the average price point was down for detached homes. Townhomes were up across all three categories, and condos were actually down. So this is a good example right here where it shows that benchmark prices for condos in North Surrey were up. However, on a month over month basis, the median and average are going to be a little bit more accurate. As you can see here, price points were slightly down. Then moving on over to Langley, we can see much of the same with detached homes up at 1.541 million, townhomes at 811,000, and apartments at 575,000. Moving on to the actual stats in Langley, we can see detached up across the board pretty significantly, with the median and average price points up 8.2% and 4.8% respectively. Townhomes up across the board as well, specifically in the median and average price points, and condos much of the same. We can see probably one of the strongest condo markets for cities in the Fraser Valley, with median prices up 6.7% and average prices up 4.9%. And just before I close off these statistics, I want to take a quick peek at the average days on market. So single family homes were 25 days on market on average to sell, townhomes at 23 days, and apartments at 26 days to sell. However, in all honesty, I don't feel like this is actually reflective of anything that is priced well and marketed well. Even homes that don't show that well, as long as they're priced well, they're still moving quickly. So these are people that still haven't realized how the market has shifted, or have unrealistic expectations, or are just overpricing their homes because they've seen the uptick in activity as of late. So what exactly is going on? Where are we headed? And how can prices continue to rise? The overnight lending rate is still at 4.5%. However, the Bank of Canada did hold off on making any changes the last two meetings. Now, this doesn't mean that they're completely done with increasing interest rates. We still could see another raise or two. I personally don't think we will. However, it really depends on what happens over the next couple of months. But you have to ask yourself, if buyers' borrowing power goes down on average by 10% for every 1% increase in interest rates, and rates are up 4.25% from the bottom, how are people still affording to buy homes? And that question definitely holds some value. However, there's a few things you need to consider. First of all, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but the supply and demand hasn't really changed that much, as I showed you. With only 4,200 listings needing to be over 6,000 historically, and taking into consideration that we've had mass immigration, so those numbers likely differ at this point in time, that's continuing to put upward pressure on pricing. Additionally, we've already seen 15 to 30% declines in prices across Surrey, Langley, and the rest of the Fraser Valley, so many who are sitting on the sidelines have now chosen to dive back in at better prices. You also have to remember that there's a large portion of individuals who own their homes outright and don't have a mortgage. Recent stats showed that in the Lower Mainland, in cities like Surrey and Langley, those numbers were just over 30%, whereas in Vancouver, it was closer to 50%. And for those of you that have been waiting to see this flood of foreclosures, I just don't see it happening, at least not at current interest rates. Now, if we were to see some sort of substantial increase, another percent or so, could it happen? Potentially. But the two factors that are also strongly combating this are, number one, immigration, with Canada immigrating nearly 1 million people into the country last year and planning to do the same this year. And secondly is the job market. This is still going strong and is the one thing that is definitely helping to prop up the market. But if we were to see a mass number of layoffs, this could really change things. And so this is the one thing I would definitely be keeping an eye on. But unfortunately, for those of you who are waiting for the bottom of the market to fall out, we now have seen 3 consecutive consecutive months of steady price increases, more than that in certain markets and certain property types. So every single day it's looking more and more like we may have found the bottom. And looking at the current data that we have access to, it's pretty difficult not to think that prices are going to continue to rise for the next few months, because past that point I don't want to make any sort of predictions. But that's enough from me. What do you think? Do you agree with what I have to say, or do you have a completely different opinion? Let me know down in the comments. And if you are interested in taking a deeper look into the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board stats for April of 2023, I will leave a link down in the description. If you did get any sort of value from this video, all I ask is that you hit that thumbs up button. And if you are interested in seeing more videos just like this one, as well as community tours across the Lower Mainland in the future, I suggest you consider subscribing to our channel. If you do live in Surrey, Langley, or the rest of the Fraser Valley, and you're thinking about buying or selling in the near future, or you just want to chat about real estate, you can scroll down to book a call with me at a time that works best for you. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out another one of my videos on my channel before you get out of here, and we'll see you in the next one.